eating disorders. This chapter considers what eating disorders look like. We also explain why eating disorders can be explained easily when you consider the factors that keep them going. We are going to focus on what maintains your problem rather than focusing on its origins, because tackling your eating disorder, and really any other disorder, is much more likely to be successful if we look at the here and now rather than at past factors. As part of this explanation, we are going to help you understand the common factors that maintain the behaviors, emotions, and beliefs that are central to eating disorders. It is important to acknowledge that the factors that caused your eating disorder might still be around. If so, then they can play a maintaining role too. Making sense of your problem. If you have selected this book, you probably already have a pretty good idea of what it is like to experience an eating disorder, via either your own eating problems or those of your loved one. Therefore, this chapter will not go into great depth about the literature on eating disorders and their origins, prevalence, and so forth. Your own experience is likely to be far more important. Instead, we will give an overview of the different types of eating disorders, and then go on to their common features and maintaining factors. As you will learn in this chapter, the common features and maintaining factors reflect similar mechanisms across the different eating disorders. Central to many of these mechanisms is anxiety. Therefore, learning to address your anxiety in the context of your eating and body concerns and behaviors is critical to treating your eating disorder. That leads us to the rest of this book, where we will explain the importance of exposure therapy in reducing eating disorder-related anxiety. More importantly, we will explain what you can do to implement exposure therapy for yourself. Taking care of yourself while you address your eating disorder. One thing to be very clear about: eating disorders can have significant physical consequences that put you at risk. Starvation, low weight, excessive weight gain, binging, vomiting, taking laxatives, excessive exercise, and more all can put you at high risk of experiencing potentially severe problems with your physical health. It is also important to remember that eating disorders have psychological and social consequences, such as low mood, enhanced anxiety, isolation, impulsive behaviors such as self-harm, disrupted relationships with loved ones, and/or feelings of suicidality. So, it is important that you should look out for your wider health, either by making sure that you let your family physician know about your eating disorder, or by engaging the services of a physician with eating disorder expertise. If they ask you to get a blood test, to be weighed, to have your heart tested, etc., then please do what they are asking. Similarly, if your family tells you that they are worried about your physical or mental health, please take it seriously. Accept that they are trying to be supportive because they care about you and want the best for you. You might be feeling fine now, but in case your health goes downhill, it is worth telling them now that you will be okay with them showing their concern, even if you seem unhappy with them interfering at the time. Different types of eating disorders. There are several different eating disorder diagnoses. The major ones are detailed in Figure 1.1. They all have their own characteristics, but also share common features. Remember, your precise diagnosis might be hard to identify if you do not nearly fit any one category, as is commonly the case, but that does not make your eating disorder any less serious. The important thing is to understand the factors that keep the eating disorder going so that you can work on ways to overcome it. As you will notice from Figure 1.1, many eating disorders have overlapping features: body image concerns, trying to avoid eating, overeating, efforts to deal with the consequences of having eaten or overeaten, etc. All of these have their basis in fear and anxiety. For example, of putting weight on, of others seeing what we look like, fear of the consequences of eating specific foods. While avoidant or restrictive